in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Yes, it is the Rebelpreneur Radio Show. I am Ralph Brogden. We are here to help you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. A big part of being able to build a business and live the life that you want is you got to be organized. And we've been talking about how to declutter your life, how to declutter your business, and how to be more effective with the time, money, energy, space, and ideas that you have. So a big key to this is automation. And so I wanted to bring in an expert on automation and delegation for small business. I'm speaking with Brook Borup. When it comes to automation and delegation, no one does it better than Brook, driven by the desire to see small business owners spend more time away from their business doing what they love. It sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? See, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. So Brook has developed systems and methodologies helping countless business owners around the world do more of what they love. So whether it's growing your business by passively attracting leads or creating automation sequences to spend less time on marketing, Brook has a back-end tool to get your business moving in the right direction. Sounds like an awesome plan. Brook, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thanks for having me, Ralph.
It's a real pleasure. I want to dig into how in the world you were able to achieve these results for small business owners, because I think we're driving ourselves crazy. We're trying to do too many things in too many places, and you've really got some great solutions to help solve that problem. First, tell us, how did you get started in this business, and what's your story?
Well, I will make a long story short. I used to be in hospitality, customer service, and at one point, I was supporting 19 C-level executives. And when you support that many people who can't even walk to the fax machine and or the copier, you need to come up with a lot of ways to be extremely productive in your everyday world.
Now, why can't they walk to the fax machine? Are they so brilliant they've lost touch with how to do ordinary things?
You know, honestly, a lot of C-levels, especially in corporations like big ones like that, they can't do a lot of things, or they won't. They put themselves on a pedestal, and they think they're better than everybody else. And an admin is just an admin, right? Like, we don't care. They're replaceable. And that's how I lived my life for a really long time. And I did a lot, and I was very I am an entrepreneur at heart, right? So any entrepreneur who has ever been in a job that loved what they did because they were serving and helping and doing what they could, but they're stifled by the what everybody else thinks that they should be doing and thinks that they're worth whatever they think they're worth, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
I'm a $12 an hour admin, and 5 years later, I'm charging $75 an hour to talk to me.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a huge difference. But I still had this knowledge and this energy and this drive that long ago.
Very
they
powerful.
just didn't see it and they didn't care.
Yeah.
So I fired corporate America on January 1st, 2014,
Woo-woo.
and started my business.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm not going into 2014 with another W-2. This is not going to work. So I took all of that knowledge and all of that energy and started back to work for the entrepreneurs that I love. I come from an entrepreneurial family. There are 11 businesses in my immediate family. And I was raised this way. I was raised to be cognizant of money. I was raised to be fair and equitable. You know, I'm from the Midwest. So the typical way that you feel about Midwesterners, everything's done on a handshake. Now, I don't do that, but that's the mentality that I come from. And so that's what I want to bring back. I mean, I will tell you, and my dad will tell you, he is my worst client. He's always been my worst client. He will always be my worst client. But he is starting, after 5 years of me doing this, starting to understand the value of the things that I teach people every single day.
So what does the worst client mean? Is he just very demanding, or he doesn't think that you can deliver? What makes your dad so demanding?
He doesn't listen.
Oh, he doesn't listen. Oh, well, you know what? Your dad's not unique.
I know, right? But, it's one of those things that my dad put me through school. And I'm lucky that I'm one of those students that had parents that could pay for them to go through school and not have to worry about student debt and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm extremely grateful for that. So I went to school for advertising and public relations with an emphasis in marketing and event planning, and all of that. Then my dad goes and spends $1,400 on a radio ad because somebody sold him. And I'm like, seriously, he got nothing from that ad, but then all I could say is, I told you so, right? Because he didn't listen. And he, it's just one of those things. Like, I have clients like that. But if they believe that they can do something, if they believe that they can put in the work to make things happen and they can make a difference in their business, they'll believe me and they'll let me help them. Yeah. If they are not at the point to the breakdown of overwhelm yet, then they're not going to. There's a lot of business coaches and a lot of people out in the world, especially now. I know people that have like 3 and 4 different coaches, which is great, but there's no implementation behind anything they're doing. So I get people that will come to me saying, oh, I need all of this help, and I need this, and I need that, and I need automation, and I need marketing help, and all this kind of stuff. But I just spent $100,000 on a coach, and I don't have any money to pay for you.
What do you say to that?
I look at my assistant, and I'm like, oh, we need them before the coaches.
That is so funny. I like how your first customer was your most difficult client was your dad. But I mean, you know what? If you can sell your dad, if you can get your dad to go along with it, then you could probably sell anybody, right?
Yeah, well, and he's doing better now. I mean, my dad still lives in Michigan, owns a construction company, but he comes down to Florida various times. And so when he's here, he goes to events with me, either events that I'm running or clients will meet him, because I do have clients come to my office and stuff like that. And they're like, she's brilliant, right? And we love her so much. And my dad's like, oh, that's so sweet. And every time somebody says something like that to him, it makes his wheels turn a little bit, like maybe I should be listening too, but I'm not.
That is so funny. And, tell us more about what exactly it is that you do on your website, which is myclonesolution.com, which I really love the name of that. When people ask you, what do you do? You've got some things on there: automation, delegation, business optimization, and more. Yeah. What is all of that stuff, and how does it help people?
Well, it's all big words for, I'm going to help you make your business better so that you can do your superpower and have other people or software do the rest. I truly believe that business owners get into business because they're really great at what they do. They don't get in the business to do paperwork or contracting or, answering the phone or doing social media. That's all ancillary stuff we have to do in order to do our superpower, right? So if we could get to the point where all of that ancillary stuff was kind of on autopilot, or we had somebody to do it for us, then we could live in our superpower and sell ourselves as that superpower. And that's where every business owner should be looking to get to, right? That's the goal. Is I'm in business to do what I do. I'm not in business for all these other things.
Yeah,
but most people, yeah.
Yeah, well, what you said just triggered a thought of what Michael Gerber always says is that most business owners are technicians suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure. Just because you know how to do the thing that you do doesn't mean that you know how to build a business or run a business that does that thing. And that's exactly what you're talking about. There's the superpower that we have, and then there's the other stuff that's just part of business. But if we're not careful, that other stuff gets in the way and it becomes our kryptonite. Then we can't do anything.
Right. And that's where most people live. They live in the task. I have to get this done. I have to get this done. I have to get this done. But, and then the other side is I have to help this client. I have to help this client. I have to help this client. And you're constantly running, I hear all the time, I work in my business, not on my business. And then you're sitting with a coach and I have to work on my business instead of in my business. And I'm saying, why can't your business work for you? We can make that happen. But implementation is what's lacking. Yeah. So everybody's like spinning wheels doing what they think they should do, but there's no planning behind it. A business plan is only as good as the paper it's written on until you actually do something. Marketing plan, 95% of small business owners don't do a marketing plan. They have no idea why they're doing what they're doing. They're just doing it because somebody told them to, or because they went to a $50 workshop and took some notes. Right?
A $50 workshop and took some notes. Because
it's what it is. I used to run them. I used to work for a client and I ran 15 events a month for this client. And there was so much gold that came out of these workshops. And I saw people like fiercely writing stuff down, and they don't implement any of them because I'm on all their lists.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not getting your monthly email from you. I'm not seeing any of your social media. What happened to those Facebook ads you were so excited to run?
Right.
Oh, you realized you needed some other things in place that you never put in place in order to run a Facebook ad?
I think it's. So, I think you're touching on a lot of stepping on a lot of toes here, and really.
I totally am.
Putting your finger on exactly why business isn't working and why it's not working for us. We're working for it. And so basically, we have created a job for ourselves, and it doesn't even pay all that great. And as Dan Kennedy would say, if I could fire myself, I would. But I'm the owner. I can't fire myself.
Yeah, when you're working 90 hours a week and you're not making a paycheck, or actually you're paying yourself or you're not paying yourself, you're paying other people to do what you do. Mm-hmm. It gets very daunting. And I have a whole thing called opportunity cost. If you look opportunity cost up, it's essentially what you are giving up for what you could be doing. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I have a whole workshop just around opportunity cost, just to get people understanding that, hey, and this is the easiest example. If you're doing your own books, right, and those books take you 10 hours a month, and you, in that case, and you're billing out your customer billable hour is $100 an hour, you paid yourself $1,000 to do your own bookkeeping. You don't even know if it's done right. The bookkeeper that you hire to do, or the CPA you hire to do your taxes, has to fix it. And you just paid yourself, who doesn't know what you're doing, $1,000 a month to do it.
Yeah. And somebody
if you
who
could
does
hire somebody for $300.
Exactly. Yeah. And somebody who does that all day long, they know what to do and they can do it better.
Exactly. And they're going to do it right. So guess what? Now you save money on taxes too. Mm-hmm. Oh, fancy that. So I will tell somebody, if you have problem delegating, then let's start with something you hate doing in the first place. Right?
That's a good idea.
Because as soon as you start delegating, you're going to start finding the money to delegate more. Right?
Yeah.
So I delegate a lot of stuff because I have people for that and I have clients to support that. So I'm good. But like the first thing that I started delegating was cleaning my house. Right?
So you mean you don't like cleaning your house?
I don't like cleaning my house. Does anybody like cleaning their house?
I don't know. No, some people might.
But if you can pay somebody to clean your house now, and depending on the size of your house, you just got back 4 to 10 hours a month worth of cleaning.
Yeah.
Right. So that 4 to 10 hours, if you turn that around and you actually, sold something for your business or returned a phone call or got out that proposal that you should have gotten out 3 days ago, or went on social media and started answering some questions pertaining to your business, you could make up that money in one sale.
Yeah.
Now you delegate something else. You delegate that bookkeeping work and you pay that $300. Your billable rate's $100 an hour. So go out, sell, do something that is generating revenue for you so that you can then delegate the next thing.
Yeah, like
so it doesn't
mowing
have
the lawn,
to happen all at once.
Yeah, like mowing the lawn, or I'll running to the grocery store and doing all of these things. We can delegate those things and make our life a lot easier, and spend those hours actually doing something that's going to grow or scale our business. And it makes total sense logically. But that leads me to the next question: is we could say, well, what's the biggest problem with the people that you help? And they're outwardly you'd say, well, it's because they don't want to delegate. They don't know how to automate. They don't know how to let go. My question for you is, why is it so hard for business owners to let go? Why is it so hard for them to delegate?
Because they don't know what they're actually doing. So this is the first thing that I do. I meet with a client because what I do for people and with people is not easy. It takes a lot of brain work. It takes time to physically sit down with me and to put all this stuff together, because I'm essentially extracting it from your head so that I can put it on paper and make it better. Mm-hmm. That is the process in which I follow. So when I sit down and I meet with somebody for their first hour, where we start talking about all their problems and what the priorities are that they want to get off their plate first, I send them home with homework. And the homework that I send them home with is 2 things. One, what is every web-based service, software, whatever that you're paying for? And when do they come due? Okay. And how much are they? Because I can guarantee you that I can cut most of that crap out and save you my fee at the beginning. Okay.
So then, it's a win-win right off the bat.
It's a win-win. Exactly. Because I want people to see that it's not about money with me. It's about making sure that you're optimally running your business. So we don't need all that fancy crap. There are certain things that I tell people to use, and it has a whole different reason behind it that goes into automation. But I want to know all of that stuff first. Second, I need you to treat me like you would treat your personal trainer. And your personal trainer is going to tell you, I want to know everything that goes into your mouth for an entire week.
Right.
Well, with me, I want to know every single thing you do for an entire week.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to treat your business as if you were an attorney billing by the 5-minute increment.
Yeah.
That is the only way that I can help you automate and delegate the tasks that you do, is by knowing what in the heck you do. Because nobody can sit in front of me and say, well, I checked email for 45 minutes and I sent the exact same proposal to 5 different people, and I answered the phone and I sent an email to this person. Like, they can't tell me any of that.
Nobody
but if they start journaling
Nobody has a clue where all of their time goes. My clients don't know. I ask them the same thing. We're talking about the same thing 3 weeks. For the last 3 weeks, you've not done anything. And they don't know. If you don't track it, you can't own it. You can't manage it if you can't measure it.
Right. And that's where we're going with this. Because what I want to know is if your proposal is standardized. If you sent the exact same email out to 10 different people this week, but you typed it every single time, right? Those are the things that we can automate, but people don't understand that those tools are available, or they don't look into them, or they just do it because it's habit. Mm-hmm. And I like to take all of those habits and make them so we automate them. Because that will, I believe, and I say this in a lot of different workshops that I put on, but I believe that you can automate 40% of any business. And if you can automate 40% of any business, that leaves you with another 40% that you could delegate. So if you work 100, you work 10 hours a week, which we all know isn't the case, right? But we're going to make it easy for math. If I could give you back 4 hours to go out and do some more selling, could you generate more business to be able to then have an assistant to delegate to or hire somebody to delegate to? Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we're working on automation in your business and figuring out all of these processes, when I'm working with somebody on automation, I will put in delegation steps in the automation. So, for instance, if you get an assistant or we create an email address for a fictitious assistant, which of course comes to you right now because you don't have one, we will take in these different places where it's like email sent. Okay, now it's time to call this client. So it'll send, the automation will send a task to the assistant's email and say, now it's time to call this client. This is where they're at in their project, blah, 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 blah. So now I'm automating the task delivery for client service to a fictitious delegation person you're delegating to. Mm-hmm. So when you're ready to delegate, all you have to do is give them an email address and a login.
And that right there, just what you described, is very powerful that nobody does. They have no idea where their leads are. They don't know how to follow up. They can't even keep their appointments with themselves. So your system would actually improve their business right off the bat just by having something to serve as a trigger, as a reminder to reconnect or re-engage. So you have to think about your business, think about the different steps, and then create these automation systems. But then the real leverage comes when you're able to take yourself out of that and insert someone else in there to be able to do those things when they come up.
Right. And if you plan for it, then it's that law of attraction, right? So I have all these systems in place. I can delegate to somebody now. And now you're like, when can I get an assistant? When can I get an assistant? And you go out and you work harder and use that automation to actually do what it needs to do so that you can get your assistant because you're looking for it. You're waiting. I'm ready. I've got it. And, it's, who knows if it's a part-time assistant or a full-time assistant, doesn't matter. It could be a somebody like me who has a team and we just project management until you're ready or whatever. But I was at a workshop yesterday and I work with several business coaches and they bring me in as a resource to help when they're doing like planning and goal setting. And so I was in there and I was talking to a couple of tradesmen. And now these are guys that are not just working in their trade. They're networking and they're marketing and they're out there and they're doing stuff. So they actually have a coach and they're actually like doing something more than just hammering, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm sitting there and they're like, well, we just got a new CRM system and it does all this cool stuff and we've got to get it set up. And our goal for the next 90 days is to get it set up and get it implemented and get trained on it, get the staff using it. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Do you have any processes? And they're like, huh?
Yeah. So I said, okay, you got all these great tools, but you have no idea how to use them or work them. It's like a hammer with no nails or nothing to hammer into.
Yeah. And there's one thing about having the tools, but there's another thing about setting the tools up to work for you rather than you just plunking in data. Right? You can plunk in data to a $5 or to an Excel spreadsheet, right? Yeah. You can plunk data into that all day long. But if you have a system that's going to auto send out emails at certain points and it's going to send, will you, rate me on Google or will you leave me a Facebook thing or whatever? Mm-hmm. If you want to do all of that, it's got to be set up properly. The only way you can set it up properly is if you can think through every single thing of every single process. Yeah. And we have multiple processes. We have the what happens once somebody gives you a credit card process, mm-hmm. right? We call that the customer service process. Then we have the loyalty process, which is after it's done. I'm sorry. After it's done, Now we have to get referrals and testimonials. So now we have our sales process, and the sales process is the most important one because it's the one people forget about.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to take somebody from I'm interested in what you have to here's my credit card. And that is the one that makes or breaks your business. So while you may be doing it at 10 or 20%, you could use email and automation and text messages and delegation pieces to handhold them through that entire process in whatever long or short form it may be. Everybody has a different, size of that process.
Well, what I like about your approach is this is completely customizable to your business. In fact, you have to think through all the processes in your business and who needs to do what triggers one thing and the other, and then you can take and automate those things and really make your life so much easier. So that's really exciting. But let me ask you this: how do people find out more about you, about your services? You've got some free things on your website. What's the quickest and easiest way to reach out to you and find out more, Brooke?
Quickest and easiest is just go to myclonesolution.com. If you can't remember that, or you're not listening to this at the moment, if you Google My Clone Solution or you Google Brook Borup, I'm everywhere. So you can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook and anywhere you ever want me to be.
She is everywhere.
I'm there, so.
She's everywhere. You know why? Because she's a clone. The real,
That's right.
The real Brook Borup is on a beach someplace, and we're actually talking to one of her clones. It's one of her automation systems. Yeah. She has a system she's automated that she sends out to do interviews while she's sitting on a beach, right?
Well, I have a system that gets me the interviews, and then I show up for you. And really, what it really comes down to is My Clone Solution is made up of a bunch of different people who have very specific superpowers. And I allow my team to use their superpowers every single day, and they're not meant to do everything. My assistant, she's a lot like me, and I love her for that, because she can do a lot of different things, but I have just web designers and just SEO people and just graphic designers and just automation builders, and we all work together as a team. So if you were to go out and you were to find all of those individual people, they're not going to talk to each other. They're not going to have your holistic business in mind when they're building stuff. And that's where people come back and say, Facebook ads don't work. Google whatever doesn't work. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. My clients aren't on LinkedIn. They come back and they say all these things to me because no one has ever taken a look at their business to see how it really could work as a whole. They're looking at their own part, and the business owner doesn't know any different. So they just go along with what this specialist tells them to do. And the specialist only has their business in mind. Yeah. They're not sitting here working and saying, okay, well, if I'm going to run Facebook ads for you, we need to get with your web person and we need to do this, and this.
Yeah. So you got to look at the big picture.
Right.
And I've worked with specialists like that where everything has to be a Facebook ad, but they don't know anything about something else. They don't. All they know is that, and that's useful to a degree. But you still need a team. You need to be able to leverage someone who sees the big picture. This is really encouraging, I think, to our listeners who are feeling overwhelmed, feel like that there is never enough time in the day to get done all the things that they want to get done, or they come to the end of the day and they've been busy all day, but they don't know that they've accomplished anything of any importance. So I think this is going to be very useful to them. Our time is almost gone. Brooke, do you have any final thoughts or a big word of wisdom that you'd like to leave us with?
Absolutely. I'll give you a couple. So the first thing is never learn anything without implementing it.
Excellent. Yeah.
Okay. And the second thing is don't get buried in your business, and don't go, and this refers to the first one, please do not go and get a coach if you do not have any way of actually making things happen. Because a coach is there to help you make things happen. But if you can't do it, they are not going to do it for you. I promise.
Yep. Words of wisdom and lots of experience speaking there from Brook Borup. She is driven by the desire to see small business owners spend more time away from their business, doing what they love, and that really fits into the Rebelpreneur profile of building a business you need so you can live the life that you want. And Brook has developed systems and methodologies to help countless business owners around the world do more of what they love. If you're interested in growing your business and leveraging and delegating so that you can scale your business to the place that you can eventually work yourself out of a job, that would be great, wouldn't it? You can find out more about Brook by checking out her website, myclonesolution.com, and we'll have that link up on the Rebelpreneur website as well. Brook, it has been a real pleasure to get to know you. Thanks for sharing your wisdom with us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Ralph.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.